When I'm here on page 75 of the latter part of the excerpt from Hobbes' Leviathan, there's just way too much here in terms of Hobbes' ideas about natural law and natural right to really go into a lot of detail about. It's very difficult material. And rather than make a bunch of videos looking into it, I thought I'd just focus on this one part here on page 75, this section called Justice and Injustice come into being with the creation of the Commonwealth. And the Commonwealth is the state, the Leviathan. Leviathan is a word that I know from the Bible. When God wants to impress Job in the book of Job, he points to all his creation, and one of the things he points to is the Leviathan, which is basically, I think, a whale. Leviathan is like a big sea monster, a giant. And so the Leviathan in Hobbes' political philosophy is the state, government, which human beings create. And why do they create it? Well, they create it because they need it, because of the way that life is like in the state of nature. They need a big, scary monster. They need some artificial entity that is powerful enough to keep them all in awe. And the real awe that they have to be kept in is the fear of breaking their promises. And that's where justice and injustice come in. So I want to focus on this section here on page 75. Justice and injustice come into being with creation of a commonwealth. But because covenants of mutual trust, where there is a fear of not performance on either part, as hath been said in the former chapter, are invalid. That is, to really make a covenant, a contract, an agreement with somebody else, you have to have a reasonable expectation that the other party is going to actually hold up their end of it. In the state of nature, you have no such assurance. And so, you yourself have every right to break any contract that you make with somebody because your expectation is that they will too. So, contract, a meaningful contract, a meaningful covenant, a meaningful agreement is not possible in the state of nature, according to Hobbes. Though the origin of justice be the making of covenants, that is, it's when we begin to make agreements with each other, that's when justice comes into the world. Yet injustice, actually, there can be none, till the cause of such fear be taken away. That is, in the state of nature, it's not unjust to break a promise. It's only unjust to break a promise if there is a power established to punish the breaking of promises. Yet injustice, actually, there can be none, till the cause of such fear be taken away, which while men are in the natural condition of war, cannot be done. Therefore, before the names of just and unjust can have place, that is, before they even have any meaning, there must be some coercive power to compel men equally to the performance of their covenants by the terror of some punishment greater than the benefit they expect by the breach of their covenant. So maybe this is the meaning of the title that the editor gave this section, that the origin of morality is in self-interest. As long as I have nothing to fear from breaking a covenant, from doing anything, I have a right to do it for my self-preservation. It's only when there is a power established that can punish me and make it a bad bargain to do anything that I have any reason not to do it. Therefore, before the names of just and unjust can have place, there must be some coercive power to compel men equally to the performance of their covenants by the terror of some punishment greater than the benefit they expect by the breach of their covenant, and to make good that propriety which by mutual contract men acquire, in recompense of the universal right they abandon. And any such power there is none before the erection of the commonwealth. That is, my own liberty, my own right to my own self-preservation means more to me, and I have no reason to give it up unless there is a power established that can punish me for not keeping my promises and punish others for not keeping their promises to me. And this also And this is also to be gathered out of the ordinary definition of justice in the schools, for they say that justice is the constant will of giving to everyone, giving to every man his own. And therefore, where there is no own, that is, no property, there is no injustice. And where there is no coercive power erected, that is, where there is no commonwealth, there is no property. That is, if justice is giving to everybody what they deserve, or what is their own, well, there's no ownness, there's no property, there's no desert, until there is a coercive power erected, until there's a commonwealth, until there's Leviathan. All men having right to all things in the state of nature. Therefore, where there is no commonwealth, there is nothing unjust. So that the nature of justice consists in keeping of valid covenants, but the validity of covenants begins not but with the constitution of a civil power, sufficient to compel men to keep them. And then it is also that property begins. So for Hobbes, there is no right or wrong. There's no just or unjust until there is a power to punish the breaking of contracts, breaking of covenants, the breaking of agreements. Hobbes believes that natural law leads us to erect such a power. But that motive, that natural law is utterly selfish. The natural law is that we should seek peace, but the second natural law, as I understand it, is that we should defend ourselves by any means that are necessary. So that we should seek peace for our own benefit, and so we erect we engage in the social contract, create the Leviathan. But if the Leviathan isn't there, we should do. We have the liberty of the right to do whatever it is in our judgment is necessary.